Hello brew tubers, finally brew day again. First brew day in about 2 months actually. I haven't brewed since about a month before my beer festival, which was on the 7th of July. So yes, it's been a very long while. I hope I can still remember how to do it. Anyway, Rhubarb and Custard wheat beer, Anno Secundo, my 2nd year anniversary brew. So each year around August I brew a beer with rhubarb. Last year it was a rhubarb saison, which I think I've still got a couple of bottles of actually. And the year before that was the very first alcoholic beverage I made, which was a rhubarb and ginger wine. So each year brew with rhubarb as a sort of homage to that first alcoholic beverage. So yes, this year rhubarb and custard wheat beer. The grain bill is very simple. 3 kilos of pale malt and 3 kilos of wheat malt. I did consider using Pilsner, but I decided on using Marisota Pale because it's a good malt, and yeah, not really worried about the colour. So yeah, 3 kilos of pale malt, 3 kilos of wheat malt. Might add some torrefied wheat, don't know yet, probably not. Then on the boil, 20 grams of Challenger, just for the bittering addition. No aroma hops. And a bag of lactose. Then when we get into fermentation stage, I shall chuck in a vanilla pod. Chuck in a vanilla pod and a couple of kilograms of rhubarb, stewed rhubarb, and yeah, see what happens. We use Bavarian wheat yeast to ferment it with. Yeah, see how it goes. That's the basic plan. I sort of treated the water the other day, so I just boiled it for 20 minutes and chucked the Candon tablets in. Just coming up to temperature again now. All good in the hood. So yes, what's happening? That's come up to temperature. Next time you'll see me, I'll be mashing in. Hooray. 68 degree mash for an hour and a bit. Something like that. See you later. Grains are in. As I said, 3 kilograms of pale ale malt, Marisota, and 3 kilograms of wheat malt. And just put a sparge plate on and I'll start recirculation. 68 degrees Celsius, and I'll mash for, say an hour and a half, thereabouts. So an hour and 15-minute mash. Got the sparge plate in, so I'll just get this all sparged up to about 28 litres or so, and yes, I'll start the boil. Right, just coming up to the boil. I'm trying to keep the foam under control, the trusty old spray bottle. We'll resume when we get to hot break. So a 70-minute boil, 20 grams of Challenger going in at the start, the one and only hop edition. So yeah, 70 minutes to go. So we've reached the end of the boil, just recirculating the wort. Got the immersion chiller on the go as well. As soon as this is cooled down, we'll put it in the conical fermenter and add the yeast. So I made a solution of lactose and some of the wort. So I'll just add that to the bulldog whilst it is cooling. So I've got the tilt hydrometer in the bottom of the fermenter. I'm going to transfer the beer into it. Exciting. So we've transferred to the conical fermenter. Going to be using Bavarian wheat yeast from Mangrove Jacks. Let's go add that to the top. Right, so switch the chiller on, and then number 4. Right, so that's all on. It's making lots of funny noises. So set, that's the temperature. Profiles, ale, brew, done. That's all I've got to do. 10 days left. It will keep it at 18 degrees Celsius. 26.6 at the moment. So we'll start chilling. And there's the ins and outs. Yes, very exciting. Right, so the starting gravity is 1060, which is fairly good. Wouldn't particularly want any hard because I haven't got the sugar from the rhubarb to go in yet as well. Temperature 26.1, so there's about a degree out between the grain father and the tilt hydrometer, but that's not too bad. So yeah, Anno Secundo, year 2, rhubarb and custard wheat beer. And if I go out of here and then into here, you can see the graph, well, the spreadsheet it creates. Obviously only the one reading at the moment, but we'll come back in a couple of days and see what it looks like. So that is brew day finished with. Nice easy brew day, which is good. Yeah, no problems. Just as enjoyable as I remembered it. I'm going to make this a grain to glass video. So you'll see just a couple of updates with it fermenting, and then you will see me adding the rhubarb and the vanilla pod. And the rhubarb I'm going to do in a couple of days' time. Just get some stewed rhubarb, blast it in the blender, and yes, add it. Probably add it to a sprue bag of some description. I'm not sure yet, but I'll have to think about that. Anyway, so yes, it's all going well. The temperature's set on the old conical fermenter. I'm going to tidy up now, and then it's brew day again tomorrow. Tomorrow's a Munich Dunkel, but you'll probably see the video of that before you see this video. Anyway, yes, so on to rhubarb additions and things next. Just finished chopping the rhubarb, and I've now got that simmering away. I've got 3 pots of rhubarb which have been previously stewed. I'm going to boil them quickly though, just to make sure that they're pasteurised and don't affect the beer. And I've got the other rhubarb in the pressure cooker just stewing away. So I'll show you that right now. So that's the rhubarb stewing. I will put the lid on that in a sec. And there's the pre-cooked rhubarb. I'll give this a good measure out before I add it to the fermenter, just to see how much I'm adding. 2 lots of stewed rhubarb. Gonna wait for it to cool a little, and then we'll see how much we've got. So 3.92 kilograms thereabouts of rhubarb, stewed rhubarb going in. So just shy of 4 kilos. So let's go add this in. And then if you look over here, we have the vanilla pod just in some rhubarb gin, and just sort of sanitising it. That is the current gravity reading, 1025. So yeah, see if we can work out the ABV once we have the rhubarb, see how much that changes. First in the vanilla pod and a little bit of gin which is with it. Then the rhubarb. This is going to be very messy. messier. Let's give this a stir. Just wash this rhubarb off the top here. Add that lid back on. Done. So this is where we are with the rhubarb and custard wheat beer, Anno Secundo, or year 2. The temperature rose from about 18 degrees Celsius to 25. The rhubarb was still a little warm, and the gravity has jumped up from 1.025 to 1.038. So if my ideas are correct, I just have to add the difference to the original gravity, and that should give me my final ABV. So I shall be doing that in a bit. So yeah, we've got what, 0.013 sugars out of it. This is the rhubarb and custard wheat beer. Yeah, it doesn't quite look like much at the moment. You can see there's an awfully large amount of rhubarb floating around in there. Yeah, obviously I'm going to have to filter this eventually. See how it's going. That's what it tastes like there. Sort of eating it still rather than drinking it, but you can definitely taste the vanilla pod and sort of the custardy sort of flavour, and also there's definitely rhubarb there as well. Yeah, it's needs a good filter. This will say there's 4 kilograms of bloody rhubarb floating around in that. Still got to make my mind up how I'm going to clean it up. I think what I'll do is I'll get a colander and a muslin cloth, and sort of pour it into the second fermenter using a jug. That's probably the best way of doing it, I think. But yeah, so it's tasting okay. Very early days yet. It's definitely got that rhubarb taste I wanted. Got a nice sweetness to it, and sort of a nice hint of vanilla in the background, so it's worked out quite nicely. Right, so we've pretty much reached the end of fermentation. I've siphoned what I can off of the rhubarb beer into the second fermenter here. I've got about, I'm not sure entirely, probably about 10 litres left. So I've got a filter bag in. I'm going to use this sanitised jug just to pour the rest of the mixture into here. Try and get as much strain as possible. I'll see if I can rescue the vanilla pods as well and chuck them in, because I want to keep them. It's not quite vanilla-y enough yet. So, right, well, I'll get transferring. Probably a couple more pegs just because of the weight. And yes, we'll get this all put into the other fermenter. So we're all empty in there, and we've transferred the rhubarb into here. So I just need to try and squeeze this and get as much of that juice out as possible, much of the beer out, and then I've rescued the vanilla pods there, which I shall re-add to the fermenter. So it is time to bring this grain to glass to its conclusion. Here is the glass. The end. No. This is the finished product. Well, some of the finished product. Anno, Secundo, Rhubarb and Custard Wheat Anniversary Beer, 6.7%. Year 2. Yes, this is slightly chilled from the fridge. I did about 15 or 16 bottles, and the rest went on keg. However, I have run out of CO2, so I can't drink it out the keg at the moment until I get CO2 replaced. Anyway, I shall pour this labelled camera. Good hiss to it. Get it in here. Right. Yeah. Little sticky stuff in there. So, yes, it looks a bit red on camera, but it's not. It's like a sort of slightly ambery straw yellow. It's not orange as appears here. Well, I don't know. Perhaps it is a little bit orange. No, but it's more like a dull yellow sort of colour than orange. It's looking very orange on this camera, but it's not. Let's say sort of. Ooh. On the nose, you can smell. It smells almost like a Belgian beer. Yeah, that Belgian beer smell you get, like yeasty esters sort of smell. Bit of rhubarb and vanilla. I smell a bit of rhubarb and vanilla. Ooh. That's quite a hefty mouthfeel. Oh, that's quite good, that. So, it has a slight tartness, but not much. Fruity. Really, really thick mouthfeel. I mean, that's properly thick. It's good. Right. So yeah, the rhubarb taste is there. It's not a sweet rhubarb like the sweets. It's more of a actual stewed rhubarb taste to it, because it was, I suppose, stewed rhubarb I put in. 4 kilos of stewed rhubarb. I used 2 vanilla pods. The vanilla taste is a little lost, but it's sort of there in the aftertaste. It's sort of tart, rhubarb, sweet, hint of vanilla. In that order. That's quite nice, actually. It's turned out. Is it what I wanted? It's nearly what I wanted. I wanted more of that custardy flavour. And it's a bit thicker than I thought it was going to be. Will that turn out to be a good beer? It is a good beer, I'm enjoying it.
Not quite what I wanted, but it's still very good. Yeah, you know, that's a fair enough beer. It's good. We've got a couple of send out as beer mails as well, so people can form their own opinion. I think you're always your own worst critic when it comes to beer. You always know what you wanted. Be interesting to see what the kegs version's like compared to this. It doesn't taste like the rhubarb and custard sweeties, unfortunately, but it still tastes a very good beer. I tell you what, there's a great amount of sediment for a bottle conditioned beer. Yeah, it's compacted down quite nicely. Very promising. Very promising. See if the last bits taste any different. No, no taste with the rest of the bottle in there. No taste difference. Yeah, it's a nice bit of beer. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So from me and my Anno Secundo, my year 2 anniversary beer, it's au revoir, I'll be the same, and see you again very soon. Bye!